It's been too long since we made a video on a baseball league, so I'm looking forward to this one. Here are the American Association of Professional Baseball ballparks. Impact Field, Chicago Dogs. To be clear, the name is referring to these dogs. But on certain days you may see plenty of these dogs here too. It's important not to get the two mixed up. You don't want your wiener dog turning into a wiener dog. Nonsense aside, Impact Field was built on a site that was touted as the potential site of a new ballpark for the Chicago Cubs. However, they still play at Wrigley Field, of course. Design-wise, this ballpark is pretty straightforward, I suppose. A clean, modern design. One unusual feature is that the video board is actually double-sided. The opposite side acts as a billboard, one that often advertises the team itself to passing motorists. I thought you were supposed to keep your eyes on the road. The depot at Cleburne Station. Cleburne Railroaders. This ballpark looks as though it's situated in the middle of nowhere, and whilst that's not quite the case, it was built on the outskirts of Cleburne, a town that has a population of just over 30,000. So the addition of this field 6 years back would have certainly made a big impact on the town, hence the name Impact Field. Oh, it was just last year voted as the best tourist attraction in Cleburne. And that's no mean feat. I mean, there are at least 3 others. Nah, there are actually a few museums to be fair, including a railway museum. US Steel Yard, Gary South Shore Railcats. Gary, Indiana is a city known for its Michael Jackson, as well as its decaying buildings. Even some of the grand churches are being left to crumble. However, they must really love their baseball, because this ballpark could be in any major city. It's relatively new and has been kept in good condition, so it sort of looks out of place here. At least the name is a good fit, as it's situated right by the steel yards. I believe it was the decline of the steel industry that was largely responsible for the economic decline of this city. The steel mill is still in operation, but it employs less than 1/10 of the people that it did back in the day. If only these guys were allowed to use steel bats. Northwestern Medicine Field, Kane County Cougars. It's a bit of a shame that this team is named after the county rather than the town, because they could have taken baseball team name absurdity to the next level by calling themselves the Geneva Conventions. Ironically, Conventions would be one of the most unconventional names there is. This has the largest capacity out of all the ballparks in this league. A little under 11,000 can watch the Cougars play. However, due to the bucolic setting and the extensive landscaping throughout, it still very much has a friendly neighborhood ballpark look and feel to it. Wisconsin Brewing Company Park, Lake Country Dockhounds. This place opened in 2022, and like a lot of the newer minor league ballparks, it has an artificial turf field, which doesn't look the best in my opinion, but you can certainly understand why a small baseball team would opt for it. Not only do they not have to pay for a big crew of groundsmen to care for it, but in Wisconsin it snows a lot, and a synthetic turf field handles that a lot better. Wisconsin Brewing Company is more than just a title sponsor. They actually run a microbrewery on site that they use to test new products. Geez, it must be very difficult trying to find people to test their products on game day. Staying in Wisconsin, we have Franklin Field, home of the Milwaukee Milkmen. To suggest that Wisconsin is only known for its brewing industry is utter nonsense. They also know how to squeeze a cow's teat in just the right way, and thus have a large dairy industry as well. Hence milkmen, and cheeseheads for that matter. This ballpark opened in 2019, and unsurprisingly, it too has an artificial turf field. It's actually a nice little ballpark. I especially like the yellow, grey and charcoal colour scheme. That's not something you see at a ballpark too often. Sadly, no matter how successful the Milkmen become, this will never be the most famous Franklin Field. Philadelphia's got them covered. Newman Outdoor Field. Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. The Redhawks ballpark has a rather nice red brick and stone facade. We mentioned a billboard earlier. Well, Newman, the company that this ballpark is named after, specializes in outdoor advertising, most notably billboards. And just like hairdressers need to have their hair cut, advertising companies also need to advertise. Wait a minute, I just noticed something. Advertising intends to get you to buy something, or buy some, and the Red Hawks share this ballpark with the North Dakota State Bison, a college baseball team. There, I just created a conspiracy theory. A very tenuous one, but they mostly are. Legends Field, Kansas City Monarchs. For a long time these guys were called the T-Bones, but they changed their name to the Monarchs in 2021 as a homage to the original Kansas City Monarchs, who were the longest running franchise in the history of the Negro Leagues. Legends Field is like many minor league ballparks in that it has its own little version of the Green Monster at Fenway Park in Boston. It's just a big outfield wall in left field. Unlike Fenway, this one has the home run patio up top. It's got like tables and stuff. I'm sure the Red Sox are jealous. Other common traits are the lawn seating, picnic and party areas, and the brick exterior, although it's not the most extravagant of exteriors. Haymarket Park, Lincoln Salt Dogs. You would have thought Salt Dogs is also referring to some type of hot dog, but no. As you can clearly see, a salt dog is a canine that is high on bath salts. They are a common sight in this town. In fact, they actually have control over certain neighborhoods. Rather than skyscrapers or steel yards or trees, the backdrop at Haymarket Park is dominated by another sports venue, the Cornhuskers Memorial Stadium, which is the largest stadium in the state of Nebraska. It's almost perfectly aligned with the stadium. As you might expect, the Nebraska Cornhuskers baseball team also play here. Lewis and Clark Park, Sioux City Explorers. Another clever name, because Lewis and Clark were, of course, explorers. You might be surprised to hear that after days and days of stomping through forest and swampland, they were the ones that discovered this ballpark. It was unlike anything else they'd seen on their expedition, and so it made a big impact on them, hence the name Impact Field. It is one of the most simplistic ballparks in the league, with its symmetrical dimensions, lack of outfield seating, and very little in the way of shaded seating. Still a decent venue though. Sioux Falls Stadium, Sioux Falls Canaries. Wait, these guys have Sioux in their name as well? The Canaries were founded first, so you know what they should do. Sioux. No, this Sioux is in reference to the Sioux tribe of Native Americans. Having opened in 1941, this is the oldest ballpark in the league. It underwent a major change in 2000 when it was renovated extensively. That renovation resulted in a bizarre looking exterior. They added some luxury suites and whatnot to what was a pretty bare bones ballpark beforehand. I think it looks a lot better inside than out. Blue Cross Park, Winnipeg Goldeyes. Yes, just like Major League Baseball, this league has included a Canadian team, to prove that they don't discriminate. There's no Mexican team though, but they have had to venture a lot further north than Major League Baseball did, all the way to Winnipeg, a city which isn't known for conditions that are conducive to baseball. But I have contacted the local authorities, and they assure me that there are actually some days where you can go outside without your face starting to hurt within seconds. No, much like Siberia, it actually gets kinda hot in the summer. We've seen rail cats and railroaders, but it's the Goldeyes that actually play closest to the train tracks. Goldeye is a type of fish, by the way. That's why this place is nicknamed the Fish Bowl. So there you have it. As for my favorite, well, I want to choose one that made a big impact on the video, hence the choice of Impact Field. Thanks for watching, have a good one.